All righty, everybody. It's that wonderful time of the week again. As you can see, we have a special guest this week, Mr.
Hey!
Mark Walker.
Sorry, Mark.
Hey! It's been a little while since we've had him on, so Farley decided to roll back in and see if he'd come on, and he bribed us real hard and decided to come on. So thanks for joining us, Mark. How you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. Hey, so in the intro, what was the huge Lord of the Rings battle? What was the big Lord of the Rings battle?
Helm's Deep.
Yeah, what Helm's Keep, right?
Yeah.
You need that because you have that cavalry charge, and I'm saying, man, the Helm's Keep, 5 seconds of Helm's Keep would be great.
That's a good idea. We should
There you
add
go.
some fantasy stuff in there. But if I do that, then everybody freaks out.
Well, I think
Oh my God.
it's the amount of people. The amount of people in that battle. People go, ooh, like that, won't they? That's what it
There
is.
were a lot. You know what I didn't like about Lord of the Rings was that Gandalf didn't use magic enough. I mean, did that bother y'all? Because like when he fought with a sword, and I would go, dude, if I could throw a fireball, I'd sell the sword and just be doing a fireball.
You know what? I can't remember what the books say. It's been so many years since I've read them, so
Me too.
I don't know.
Right.
I can't answer it.
Me too. It's honestly been 40 years since I read the books.
See, it was only a +1 staff, but it was a +4 sword. So he had to use the sword because it was better attack rolls for him. So,
but I would think for a fireball or chain lightning or something like that, you would definitely. One of my characters in Dark War does this thing where, I mean, she can cast lightning and it hits one thing and goes to the next thing and goes to the next thing. It's a good way to take care of armored vehicles. Because it's like an EMP pulse to them, fries their electronics.
Takes it out.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. We got a jam-packed show today. Hermann Luttmann will be joining us in a little bit later on today, and if we decide to let him on, we can always just sit in the waiting room for a little while. We'll see how it goes. But
yeah, especially after he dissed my game that someone sent me. Yeah.
Right. So
what game was that?
Huh?
What game was that?
Well, we had Hex to Hex on a few weeks ago, and he's a big into American Civil War and Napoleonics as well as World War II. And I said, well, I don't know. What do you recommend because I'm not into it at all. Never played one. And he said, I'll tell you what, I'll send you one. I've got SPI, the 4 game thing.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
Yeah, and
I actually love that game.
Yeah, but
40 years ago.
But he contacted me and he said, what's your post? He said, because I'm sending you a game from my part of the world, from a game shop. Yeah. He said, because it's cheaper for me to buy you a new version of the game than for me to send the old one across the pond with the postage.
Absolutely.
So he sent me that. That's the game. It's the one made by Decision Games.
Yeah.
And of course, I put it up on our lovely home Facebook page, and they're ripping into me, rotters. And should have got the original. Geez, I thought, come on. Yeah. And even Hexy chimed in and said, look, I sent a man a game, and you do it down. Now he's going back to World War II, and that's what I said. I said, stop this Napoleonic stuff. But seriously, it was all done tongue in cheek. But yeah, so I've got that. And there's not a lot of difference because I've looked at the SPI rules and looked at the SPI standard rules and these standard rules, if you like. There's not much difference.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a couple of optional rules. They're moaning about the optional rules and all the extra bits and pieces they bolted onto it. But I don't want to do that. I want to read 6 pages of rules like the original and play it, see what I think. They use a couple of optional rules, the combined arms and the French guards optional rules, which are in the original, which are also in this one. So yeah, so that was fun. It made me laugh. Yeah. So just behave yourself, Herman.
Herm doesn't like that game.
He loves the original. It's this one.
Oh, and so he doesn't like the add-on, the Chrome and stuff?
I think it's all the optional rules he was saying, and there's variations, and all that. But I don't have to use those. I can play it like the SPI game, I'm assuming, without using any extra counters, without using any extra rules. Just use the standard ones. Yeah. Until Stig turned up, and then you ganged up on me, the pair of you, like in the playground. You got me in the corner behind the toilet.
Right. You're having a civilized conversation. Another guy jumps in, and now it's a 2-on-1.
Yeah. Right. You know that one.
Right.
Yeah. But I've got Linyi set up over there because I thought, sorry, I'm going to have a go. It's only got 6 to 8 pages of rules, so I might have a go tomorrow. Just push some bits out and see what it's like. Because say Hexy sent it to me, which is very nice. So yeah,
Hex to Hex, real nice guy. So.
He's good egg. Yeah.
Who used?
I would do more talking, but my voice is shot today. So I've been playing games for the last 3 days straight. So. Which was fun. I played Into the Woods. We played the historical scenario. We got through 8 turns, and I said, "Nope, I'm done." The Union had pretty much collapsed at that point. And if we could have finished it, but it would have just been him beating on me for the next 5 turns. So, but it was a lot of fun. I got to play that, some ATS, and some lock and load tactical. I got to play with Kev, and I got to play with Todd was there. Yep, there's a picture.
Yeah,
you can see that was the 1 p.m. turn, the beginning, and it got worse.
That's a lot of counters, isn't it?
What game is that?
Into the Woods, Shiloh.
Okay.
GMT. DBACW. Yeah. Really good game. I really enjoyed it. Had a lot of fun. But man, that was a mental workout. Enjoyed it immensely, but yeah, it's a mental workout. So, but yeah.
So how is lock and load tactical different from the real lock and load?
I have no idea. I didn't even have any of the old stuff, so I just got.
It's not the old stuff; it's the real stuff.
I don't have. I've only got Heroes of the Falklands, and that's what I got. And me and Kev played that. So
cool.
So, but I got to see Kev and I got to see Todd.
That's cool. Yeah, Todd, I've never seen Todd. He was going. Yeah.
So.
Good to meet, isn't it?
Yeah.
It was guys put on by.
And they basically play. This is kind of a Mitchland, and that was the other. Mitchland runs it. It's a small little group of us that get together, and we mainly play large monster games. So we had Brazen Chariots was out. OCS Burma was being played. Lace Wars by Red Sash Games, which I had heard of but never seen anybody play anything. So that was done. Kev and a couple other guys did Death Ride Kursk. There was Flat Top going on as well. So had quite a few games out there. The Lace Wars maps took probably an 8x8 table, bunch of tables put together.
It's bonkers, isn't it?
Yeah, and they were like, you could hear them arguing because they were kind of interpreting rules, and I think they had the designer on like speed dial for any questions. Yeah, there's me and Todd.
Yeah, looks like you guys have quite a few things set up there in the background.
Yeah, the Lace Wars. So Mitch, you can see, is over my left shoulder there. That's Mitch, and that's that Lace Wars. It was all back in that corner. And if you look in between me and Todd, that was actually that's the Death Ride Kursk, which both of those they were basically 11 by 17 map panels. So yeah. Craig, I did. Craig was asking ATS mount. I did the Hot Stove Pack 1. We did a small. It was a big scenario, but it was like it was an armor only scenario. So there was like 5 tanks each side. Mitch had 5. I had 5. It was Germans, Russians. It was a lot of fun. We did it. I think it was less than an hour. We were done. We were just shooting at each other, blowing each other up, and yeah, it was
the way it should be.
Yeah.
Did you take your gravity?
So this was Death Ride Kursk?
That was being played. Was Death Ride Kursk? I played ATS. Was the thing, but yeah.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
Yeah, the Death Ride. There's. Yeah, they weren't impressed with Death Ride Kursk. The people that were playing it.
They were not.
We're not. No.
Isn't it rules
Well, that's
issue?
too bad because there's not going to be any other East Front games to choose from.
Or Kursk games in general.
Or Kursk especially.
No new Eastern Front games. Mark, what are you saying? That's terrible.
What?
Next to be
What
telling
am I
me to
saying?
stop printing Bulge games and Normandy games. What will we do?
Yeah, what would we do? What would we do?
Yeah. So, but no, it was a fun time. Mitch does this one once every April, so it's my time that I go and just geek out and game out and everything like that. So.
Is it Mitch Reed? Is that
Mitch Land? Mitchell Land, Next War designer, Next War series designer.
Yeah, never played, but yeah, it sounds like fun.
Yeah, it's like I said, that he calls it MonsterCon, so you pick monster games or games that are like gonna take, which most war games take. A lot of war games take.
So were there any zombie games or Godzilla games or any true monster games?
Yeah.
Hero Quest. Yeah. There was a Hero Quest game that came out and so we play the heavy games during the day, and then at night we play lighter games. Their brains are fried. So Hero Quest came out.
I guess it's the new Hero Quest, right?
Yeah, some of the new Hero Quest. So yeah, there was like a lot of lighter games like that, like kind of the monsters and stuff like that. So yeah,
cool.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a good time. It's a good time for all. Just a bunch of guys together, spending. You hear cheering and dice rolling. It's a good time. It's always.
It sounds like fun.
Yeah. Oh, I played a soccer game last night. Thank Todd just popped up. He said he was going to jump in. I played a football game, like a board game, and it was pretty good. I lost 1-0, but I did score.
Which one did you play?
Counterattack. It was.
Don't know that one.
It was a new one. It's actually more like the ball. You actually have the ball going to players, and you have to. It was really good. It was out of the UK. It was produced out of the UK.
I should hope so.
So it was done properly, but it actually felt like you were watching a football match or you were playing a football match. You actually have to pass it between players. It can get intercepted. Yeah, it was pretty good.
You wear pads and helmets to play football.
No, that's rugby. We don't wear pads though.
They don't wear helmets either in rugby. But no. If you're American, football is football and soccer is soccer.
No.
If you're European, football is some weird thing you play with your feet. What?
Well, it's called football. Why do you call yours football? You pick it up and run with it.
You kick extra points. You kick field goals. You run.
We call it rugby.
You can get injuries to your feet.
Yes.
Yeah, well, Jeff asked, said, I hope the football game was at least hex-based. It was, actually.
Really?
Yeah. Here, I've got it up here. Let me share let me share my screen, and I can show you what game it was. Because it's on BGG.
See, I shut up because I wanted Mark to have a talk about certain things, but no, you're going with it. You've taken the ball and you've run with it.
I just wanted to show what the game actually was. So this is actually the game right here. So it is actually hex based. So, and they had zones of control in it too. Like literally, it was a war game, but with a ball that you're, So, but no, this is the game. So it's called Counterattack. So,
looks pretty neat.
Really good.
It looks good. Yeah.
It was a blast. Yeah. Yep. So,
looks like a blast.
I hear Mark's got some.
Bit like baseball then.
What about what?
I hear Mark's got some new game coming out or something. I don't know.
Who? Mark?
We actually have
got a couple of them, don't you?
4, which for us is quite a few. Because we're not that kind of company. We're not into putting out the 30 games a year type deal. So we just do a few and try to do them really well. but this is one of them right here. The Long Road. It'll start shipping to the pledgers next week. And to people that order on the website, if they're lucky, maybe the week after. And it's a World War III in the Weird War vein. It's a war that was actually instigated by a vampire coven in their hope to control Germany. So it incorporates not only combat it's a platoon level game in the traditional sense that we're all used to seeing, with platoons of T-80s and T-64s, and aside about that in a minute or two, against Abrams and with the expansion Leopards and stuff. But then there are also scenarios. The campaign is a story-based campaign, and there are scenarios within the campaign where you might be the main forces in the game are the Soviets, the Americans, with the expansion, the West Germans, an Eagle Eye coven, which is the vampires, which have very sophisticated weaponry because they have a lot of money that they've accumulated over 400 years of living among us. And then there's a clan, a gypsy clan, that are werewolves, and they have kind of like terrorist type of stuff that they fight with, although they can change into, some of them can change into werewolves, and you may have like bunches of werewolves attacking. And then there's this kind of crazy ass witch called Udvask, who has her own agenda that she's trying to push. The Vampire Coven wants to make West Germany theirs. The Werewolf Coven just wants everyone to leave them the hell alone and get everyone that's not German out of Germany. They equally hate Russians and Americans, and the Udvask is trying to find these special stones that, when united, will allow her to control the werewolf clan. Now, in all this stuff, all that stuff's going on inside of your basic. The Soviet Union's tripped the wire and is trying to conquer West Germany, and America's fighting them. So the thing that's always thrilled me about these kind of games is making, when I read novels about stuff like this that incorporates this weird war stuff, or when I play a game that may nibble around the fringes of it, they screw stuff up. They don't know their military. So what's the age of y'all's audience? Above 13, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
Oh yeah.
We're all
yeah,
old.
and
So
some.
they don't know their military shit, or they don't know their paranormal shit. But one of them is lacking. What I always find a lot of fun to try to do is to make nut and bolt just as realistic as any game ever made, military stuff, and then take that realistic military stuff and they're fighting werewolves with it. So, for example, and
It's
it's
great.
that type
I love
of stuff
it.
that I love doing, so that's what World at War is about. And ships, like I said, to the backers next week. It actually would ship this week, but I made a mistake because one of the pledge levels were autographed versions of two of the novels I've written. And we got in all the novels and stuff, and I'd forgotten to sign them, so I had to have Quartermaster ship them back to us. I signed them all, then shipped them back to Quartermaster, so that delayed it about 3 days. But that shipping, there's a game called Fatherland shipping an expansion for it that also ships with it. And of course, Herm's game, which Herm can talk about, A Most Fearful Sacrifice, that it has the 3 days of Gettysburg with vampires also. just
Don't do
kidding.
that.
It actually
Don't
has
do that
zombies.
to me.
No, that would be cool. That's Shadows of Brimstone. That's Shadows
We
of
need,
Brimstone.
we need a Gettysburg game where you can cast spells and, you know, have fantasy creatures and fighting for your side. That would be awesome. Mark, work on that.
Yeah, I will. I only got so many designs left, I think. But anyway, and then we have the latest issue of YA 15, which is going to be the best YA magazine ever put out. It'll be the best wargaming magazine in the history of the hobby.
Why is that?
Not. Okay, maybe not.
No, why do you think that?
I'm joking.
Oh, all right. I thought you had
only a little bit, though. Only a little bit. Here's why. One, YA has always been a beautiful magazine, and we've had some pretty good games in it and stuff. The thing that I haven't liked about it is we have it printed here in the U.S. by a print-on-demand printer, a digital printer, if you all know what that is. That doesn't mean that somebody's at their desk cranking these things out like it was 20 years ago. And I just really, although they do a good job, it's not up to the same par as our box games. So for this issue of YA, I actually sent it to the same people that do our box games. So the game in it is Nagorno-Karabakh. Have you all heard of that war? Happened just last year in the fall of last year. Anyhow, it's a modern war, and Greg Porter designed the game. A lot of it, although it's an operational game, uses some of the techniques from my 65 game with the card play. And it's a beautiful game. It's a very fun game with super high quality pieces. Stuff that you don't normally see in a magazine game. And the magazine itself, we've always had a pretty strong layout guy. He's the guy that used to do the layout for PlayStation Magazine. And he really knows his stuff. And I think we have a good group of writers. So we have a strong game with strong components. We have some great articles. It was Azerbaijan versus Armenia. Thank you, Jeff. I just think it's going to be a great magazine. I think it's going to be super well received. And that'll ship in. It's supposed to get here in May. As you guys probably know, when stuff arrives here in the United States, that doesn't mean it starts shipping the next day. It gets to port, then it has to get on a rail car, it has to go down to Orlando, then it has to be queued up with their other stuff that they're fulfilling at the time, and then it will ship. So God willing, it'll ship in May. If not, it'll ship in June. So that'll be Most Fearful Sacrifice, The Long Road, Fatherland, the expansion for Long Road, boxed expansion, and YA 15 with Nagorno-Karabakh. That'll be 4 games in a couple of months.
That's a busy summer for you, Mark.
Busy summer. And right now we're also working on 85, which is the sequel to 65, which is about the Soviets in Afghanistan. And we hope to run that Kickstarter in May. So there we go.
What's the expansion for the Long Road? What's it going to add to the game?
Well, it adds one more mounted 17 by 22 map, another sheet of counters which represent the West Germans, and multiple scenarios that I can't remember the number right off the top of my head. Let's say 8.5. Let's say 8 scenarios and 1 incompleted one. That's a joke.
I know you're talking. You see, they're talking to these guys. You see, they don't get it, Mark. You know, I've got to hold back my tongue because I get what you're saying. You know,
thank you very much.
They got to catch. It takes them a while to catch up. You know,
it's British. It's British humor.
Yeah,
I have a dog.
I did a British laugh.
humor.
Yeah, that's why they don't get it. You see, it's subtle, isn't it? Subtle.
I did a
But
subtle
anyhow,
laugh. You just
so
didn't hear
everything
it.
except the 8.5 is right. And I said 8.5 because without looking it up, I don't know.
So you're either +1 or -1.
Plus
Yep.
or -1. That's it exactly. Yeah.
So that's all coming out here in the next couple months, huh?
Yep. It is.
No, I'm looking forward to a Fearful Sacrifice. I'm looking forward to seeing that thing in the flesh.
I'm looking forward to seeing it too. We're already getting hordes of people at my front door of my house. No, I'm going to stop joking for a while.
No, because I don't get
I
it.
mean,
I was
we're
gonna say,
already getting a lot of people that are ordering it off the website and stuff, and that usually doesn't happen. So we're lucky. We're getting that, and we're getting the same thing for Long Road. When Herman and I talked about doing Fearful Sacrifice, it was a very simple formula. I told him, I said, we were friends long before this, but I said, I want you. You're the best designer in the industry besides me.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Oh my God!
Don't get the last
Making
of
his
it.
head
Come-
bigger and
Fine,
bigger.
y'all
We won't hear the last of it.
Come on, y'all. Just get a grip. And so I want that. And then I want to make the game epically Flying Pig. And there are no tiny counters. So it can fit on smaller maps. It's 15 square feet of mappage. The counters are almost 3/4 inches. It's odd that we don't have them a size we're all used to, like 5/8 inch, 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch. The way it went is we figured out the maps. So there are 2 maps in the game that go together. Have any of y'all played Old School Tactical Volume 1?
No.
All right. So anyway,
you
those
have,
two, that's fine. Those 2 maps were the template for these maps. I told Rick, God bless him, I said, Rick, so you have to fit Gettysburg, take the 2 Volume 1 maps, put them side by side, and you have to fit Gettysburg, the whole battle, in that amount of mappage. So he did that, and then I said, what is the biggest size counter that can fit in those hexes? And he told me that, and that's where we went. On that
Yeah, I'm gonna do an unboxing of it, and I'm gonna have to use my kitchen island to fit it all on. So
if you're gonna lay it out, you will. If
Yeah.
you're gonna put one on top of the other, it's not. It's just a large map. 1/2
Yeah.
of the map you would just call large. But if you were going to show one and then say, and then there's one more that fits up to it, and here it is, and put it on top, it wouldn't be so bad. You would
Okay.
have room. It's hold on. I mean, it's
Oh,
That's still shrink wrap too. That's still shrink wrap.
and then
he's trying to show us a 6-pack. Oh, and the shrink.
so it's actually, it does look like shrink, right? But it's not. It's
Wow, it's
shrink.
not. It's this shiny box. Okay.
shiny.
It's pretty big. Here's a 28 millimeter miniature, for example. There you go. Here's a coffee thing. Anyhow, so yeah, it's big and it's heavy, and there's a lot of stuff in it. And if I had room, I would pull it out, but there's a lot of stuff. What is there? It says each game includes, y'all ready?
I'm sitting
I'm
down.
ready.
An insightful rule book, absorbing scenario book, lush game maps.
Lush, I like that word.
Yes, 2 lush game maps, each measuring 31 times 40 inches. 4 thickly cut, beautiful 13 by 16 counter sheets. So actually, they're bigger than 3/4, aren't they? 12 by 16 would be 3/4.
Mhm.
Yes, it would. 1 informative 5/8 inch counter sheet, 90 poker-sized playing cards, 2 play-easing player aids, 2 impressive command displays, and 6 dice. Big game.
That's a biggie.
It's a biggie.
I've got to
And,
wait to get over
Did
here.
Herman write the rule book? because if he did,
What trouble?
we're gonna have to re-edit it, I think, because
Yeah, I don't actually know where the rule book came from.
oh my god, this last rule book he sent out to us, we had to redo the whole thing because every other word was he likes to use the word then. Do this, then this, then this, then this, then this.
It's not easy writing rules, y'all. Yeah, Herman obviously did the rules to this, and it's been extensively tested, and that's the truth.
Well, while there's a gap, I know we haven't said hello. Just want to say hello to everyone in the chat. I know we haven't had a chance to say hi to everyone, but Mark's here, so bear with us. But hi, everyone.
Hey, Blue Tweezers is here. So, Blue Tweezers,
May the
I'm
first.
not going to share the news. I'm not going to share the news. So,
May the first playthrough.
Right.
Yeah.
Quite right.
You're gonna tell him.
is there? Do you know if there's going to be a tabletop simulator module for both the Long Road and A Fearful Sacrifice? Do you know
Hi.
if there's? I'm sorry.
Hi.
Hi. Okay. Good. Good. Vassal module.
Yeah, let's say yes.
Okay.
We
Good.
had one that we were testing with. The testing for Fearful Sacrifice was done with Tabletop Simulator, and so was it with Long Road. Except Greg and I tested all the Long Road scenarios also. So that's a little bit of background. I have a friend that does super Vassal modules. So yeah, we will have the Vassal module of both. I think, and this is a very uninformed opinion, that Tabletop Simulator is gradually overtaking and somewhat what would you say, dwarfing, what would be the right word, Vassal. I think that it's becoming the more popular, but I could be wrong. I don't know. What do y'all think?
No, I
I
think
think-
you're absolutely right. I think
Depends on
tabletop
the games.
is.
Depends on the games.
Yeah, that makes
Really?
sense.
I think anything that comes out will come out with tabletop and possibly a Vassal instead of the other way around. Like it's not automatically going to come with Vassal, and then it might have Tabletop Simulator. I think it's the other way around.
I
think
hope
most-
you're right. Yeah.
I think most people are doing the Tabletop Simulator.
Yeah, I see. Vassal is for me a necessary evil when I want to play. For instance, Cataphract we're playing at the moment with Tweez, and it's a necessary evil. I think it's a soulless thing. I can understand why it's there. I'm using it and playing somebody, but Tabletop Simulator is a little bit more 21st century, shall we say?
It's
And,
almost it's a little more warm.
Yeah,
You
it's
know what I mean?
Vassal is lifeless, and
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I understand before people start moaning. I understand, and I use it because I can play then.
Sure.
If somebody isn't on tabletop, then I can
Sure.
play somebody. It has a use, but I see. I like to touch bits of card, and Tabletop Simulator gets you a little bit nearer that. I think
It does. It does. We've played several evenings of La Resistance on Tabletop Simulator, and I don't know if you can. I know there's not a Vassal module, and I don't know enough about it. I don't know if you could do all those cards and stuff on Vassal. Probably could. That's my own ignorance. Nothing against Vassal, but we enjoy doing it on TTS. And you can talk. I mean, remember the days when you had to type,
Yeah.
I'm moving this unit,
Mhm.
that's not fun.
I remember playing Atlantic Chase with Tweez on TTS, and you can turn the things exactly the way you want to, the bits of wood, and then when you drop it, it makes that very satisfying little clunk noise. So
Sure.
so that was cool.
They do need to fix their damn dice roller, though. Selecting the dice and picking them up and doing their little thing and then dropping them just is not right.
No,
What don't you like about it? Do you actually try to shake them with the mouse, or do you hit is it R that makes them go like
yeah.
this?
Yeah, like bounces them. and then they kind of fall, and then they bounce around all over the place, and it's just dumb. They need to have.
You do sound kind of like grumpy when you say that.
I know. I do.
I mean, am I right? I mean, it's
You're
like,
right. You're right. But I seen a module that actually had like a dice tray, and you just clicked on the dice tray, and it rolled like if you wanted like 6 dice or whatever, it would put them in the tray and it would bounce them around inside the tray.
World at War has that. You pick how many dice and it blows them up.
Maybe it was World at War that I saw it on. I'm not sure what it was, but
that one, yes.
The dice roller in Tabletop Simulator needs some love. So
yeah. I guess that there are modules on both of them that are that way.
When I'm rolling dice and I knock over a stack of counters, you do that in Tabletop Simulator. I can still be uncoordinated.
You do it in real life as well, Tony. I've just watched your latest Nations at War when your thing went bang and exploded everywhere.
Yeah.
Be back in a moment, folks. Yeah. But yeah, just to reiterate, I'm not downing Vassal. People love it, and that's cool.
Sure.
And but it's just for me, it's like cold. It's like,
if you're Mark, if you're looking for somebody to do the Vassal module, there's somebody in the chat right now, Greg Amos. Go to his channel and check out some of this work he's done with Vassal. He's created many Vassal modules. I can send you his link to his page if you want, but he is incredible.
I'm writing it down. We do have 2 people that do awesome jobs on Vassal modules and are they're just very nice dudes. And one of them did the Scream, Aim, Fire module that we're testing right now for Pacific, and the other one has done almost every single Flying Pig game that we put out. We have a demo for those things. So there are a lot of people playing on it. That's Herm and I started playing oh my goodness, Great War Commander when he was over here. Like we have these get-togethers. You may have mentioned them. We call them COVID cons. And about 2 COVID cons ago, we started playing Great War Commander and really liked it, really enjoyed it. So we've played that a couple of times on TTS.
But a lot of developers and designers are using TTS to play test.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, David Thompson does, you yourself do, and a lot of them do, because it gives you a bit more, you can move the thing about and you can swivel around and zoom in and all that very easily.
Mm-hmm.
And everything goes click when you drop it, which is great.
Yeah,
and they do
fixing and editing things, right? If you got, we need to adjust this counter, you just go in and adjust the image, re-upload the image, and you're ready to go. So,
yeah, depending on what stage you're at with the game. Many times, by the time I'm putting stuff up on TTS, I'm already working with the actual artist. So, yeah, it's same. I mean, I just got to go back to them and say, we need a 5 here instead of a 3, and then I got to hear them go, "What the jeez," and then they do it. That's the way it goes. That's publishing.
It's one of those things. They always make it harder than what it probably actually is. It probably takes them like 2 seconds to do.
It probably doesn't take them long, but to be honest with you, it's more my fault than theirs. Anytime. It's more my fault than the artist. I worked with some of the greatest, most professional artists that don't gripe one little bit. And, and if I was him, I would say, look, could you just test this crap before you give it to me to draw?
They're like Scotty, aren't they, from Star Trek? Can it be done, Captain? You want to do what? And then they do it, so yeah.
Right. I can't do
it. Who did the cover art for your Long Road?
Isn't that interesting? There's an interesting story to that. One, I can't tell you because I don't remember the dude's name, because the way I got that particular piece of cover art, and by the way, did y'all notice the moon?
I was going to say,
it's the moon with the werewolf as a cloud. Yeah. Yes.
So anyway, it was, and I'm not the only person that does this. I go to Holy guacamole! I'm not going to waste time.
You go to Holy Guacamole. Where do you get the Holy Guacamole from?
A Catholic church. So, but DeviantArt. That's it. Have y'all heard of DeviantArt?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I'll go to DeviantArt and I will, I'll Google, I'll search there for modern war illustrations, and then I'll go to that person and I will I'll say, hey, how much do you want for one-time rights? All I'm asking for is I'm just going to use this on this game. You can sell it to whoever else you want, but I'm just using it on this game. Okay, so yada yada. So we worked something out. That's no big thing. But the interesting thing is this painting originally, he changed it a little bit so these guys would look like Russians, were Ukrainians.
Oh,
fighting in the Donbass region.
Oh, geez.
That he drew this from, and this was years ago. This was 5 years ago, maybe, back when that stuff started. So that's a pretty interesting story behind this, the actual illustration. And so that's the long answer to your question.
Wow, that's cool. Interesting.
Yeah.
It's nice looking. I like it.
Yeah, it's really nice. I love it too. It's really good. I think it's got a little mystery going on with it. Like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Right. So yeah. And I'm glad it's coming with mounted maps. So not a lot of companies are going with consistently mounted maps, and you're choosing to do that. And I love that. I love the mounted maps for the old school tactical. I think they're awesome. I love having something solid as opposed to, paper maps.
Be careful. You're wandering off into the grumpy again.
I'm trying not to.
About paper maps.
It's nice that somebody else is saying it other than me and Ruff. Like, we're usually ones that it's nice to have somebody else.
Bringing up a point. That's all.
Yeah. But, to be honest, I like the mounted maps too. Okay.
Yeah, I do too.
But some of the paper maps, like GMT, some of their paper maps, I think they're great. I mean, honest to God, I've got no problem with them at all. And the same with Compass. Do I mean to say Compass Games? Yes, I do. The same thing with Compass Games. There's a certain quality, a certain poundage that I find very useful and doesn't bother me. And grumpy comments aside, not to pick on you, I get that some people don't like that. But for me, it doesn't really bother me too much. For mental stimulation, I'm playing the Third World War right now, or is it World War III? The thing that just came out from Compass.
Big old thing, yeah.
Right. And, I just got it under plexiglass over on my recreation table. And, I'm cool with it.
Yeah, I'm looking at it as specifically as a YouTuber. So keep this in mind.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Because anytime I use plexiglass or anything that's really shiny, all that does is put a big old spot on wherever I'm recording, a big glare that nobody can see something. So anything that I don't have to use plexiglass or anything shiny is a plus for me. That's another reason why I love it.
My exact point. That's what I was going to say. Otherwise, with Plexi, you have to spend 45 minutes moving the lights around to make sure you don't get any glare anywhere, before you start videoing. But such is life for a YouTuber.
Yeah. I can see that. But so just do stuff on Flying Pig Games. I mean, everything is mounted, so just do Flying Pig Game stuff. There's a lot of material there that you could do.
I'm waiting for the long road to hit over here.
Mounted maps? The Fearful Sacrifices are mounted maps?
What, say again?
The Fearful Sacrifices.
Oh, God, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, that's why it's so heavy.
It's very heavy. Yeah, but that's it. You're right. Yeah.
And also, you don't have to find
these maps are mounted? Really?
Yeah.
It's
Wow.
I mean, well, it's no more than what you have in Old School Tactical Volume 1. It's 2 maps just like you have in that, I think. It may be a little bit different. Yes.
This is a beast. This is a beast.
It is a beast. Yeah,
And you got a reprint of this coming. Or I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That is not a reprint. It is not a reprint.
Not a
freaking
freaking
You got
reprint.
a second edition of this coming
Right.
out soon.
Weren't we clever with the way we put that in the title?
Right.
Yeah.
So
Old School Tactical Volume 1, not a reprint, 2nd edition.
right. When is that coming?
Sounds dodgy.
Well, I can tell you exactly where it is. I can't tell you when it's coming.
Okay.
It's at the printer, deposit paid, proofs approved, printing. The printer says it'll be done by the end of May.
Okay.
To check in the mail. I can
Right.
say several other things that aren't suitable for YouTube. I mean, I tell people this stuff. You know, I tell them on Kickstarter. I'm very transparent, but I tell them I'm not making this up. I've never once lied about this kind of stuff. But fecal matter occurs, and you know, this printer, who I've been using for God knows how many years, they either do or don't do their best. I can't comment on that. I mean, we always get good games from them, but I have reason to believe that they've slid in games in front of ours sometime. But he says it'll be done at the end of May. It darn well could end up being the end of June. And then it has to get put on a
Shipped
ship.
over. Yeah. Mhm.
I don't know if there'll be any shipping problems by then, honestly. And if there aren't, you know, maybe as early as September. I mean, radically as early as August, but we'll see how it goes.
So hopefully by the end of the year for sure.
Oh, I think by the end of the year.
Yeah.
I definitely think by the end of the year. And I think by the end of the year, and we'll be, after we ship Long Road and Fearful Sacrifice, like I said, to the backers, it ships next week. England has already got their copies for Europe, but it has to go through customs and whatnot. So let's say all backers will get it, let's say within 3 weeks. Then we're going to run the Kickstarter for 85 Graveyard of Empires.
Costing me money again. I've got to wait until Long Road gets over here before I can order it, because that's why I didn't order it with you directly, because of taxes and shipping and
it's just driving us. It's driving us nuts. It's not even as simple as it cost us extra money, because we could just charge people extra money. It's just so confusing.
But then you charge more, the person has to pay more VAT over here and all that sort of thing. It's crazy. So I'll wait until Second Chance to get it. But,
Second Chance are good people.
They are. They're great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. They look after me as well. You know, they're very quick. And I think when I get my GMT P500s, they look for my name and put it at the top, because my surname's T. So otherwise I'd be waiting weeks for it. I get it before everybody else. I like to think they put mine on the top. I go, send it out to Rough.
I'm sure they do. They do.
Yeah. Yeah. So
anything new on the old school tactical front? Any new additions? Work in the works, right?
Yeah, we've got the next Kickstarter for Old School Tactical. Sorry, my eye itches because I was out mowing. Is Old School Tactical Volume 1, not a reprint. We're really not kidding.
It does sound dodgy, Mark. That does sound dodgy.
It's Volume 4.
Okay.
Volume 4 will be
Mediterranean?
It's Sicily, so
Okay.
it has Commonwealth forces. It focuses on those more than anyone else. All right. And it will be later in the summer on Kickstarter. We'll go 85 in May. I can't give exact dates because I swear to goodness I just don't know them. But 85 in May, and I bet by August we put up Old School Tactical Volume 4, which, like I said, is Sicily. It's the Mediterranean, basically.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Do you need any core sets to play the extra volumes, or are they all standalone?
They're all standalone.
Good.
They're all standalone. That's a lesson I learned when I was when I owned Lock and Load. Was I got too cute with this expansion needs this and this needs that, and I did it unintentionally. Now I like to. It's okay to have one expansion. You know, it's okay to say father. You have to have the long road to play Fatherland. That's okay. But other than that, you know, I like to just keep everything so it's standalone. You don't need any of the new rules for Old School Tactical. If you own the original edition and you want to play one of these expansions, you can still do that. If you're one of those people that wants the newest, the latest, and the greatest, there was an upgrade kit, and plus we have the latest rules online.
There was a question earlier from Tim. On the long road, did that still include more than one solitaire module?
2 solitaire scenarios is what come in it. Yeah. So there are 2 solitaire scenarios in it.
But you can still play the other scenarios, playing both sides.
Yeah, you can play both sides.
There's no hidden information. Yeah, right.
Well, you know, you do have, if you've played any of the Platoon Commander series, it is card assisted.
Right.
But you know, I test a lot of them. Solitaire is the first way they're ever tested.
Yeah.
So you can either not use the cards at all, or you can just, you know, whatever thing you come up with to do it. I consider it very playable.
Yeah, you can get around these things, can't you? And make your own little rules up and things.
Thank you, Mo.
Yeah, it looks interesting, doesn't it, Mo?
Just call it Weird War.
I love that Weird War stuff.
People you get more traction just saying Weird War. Everybody goes, "Oh, okay, I got it."
Yeah. I think that's Now, we need to throw it in there, add some magic, some weird.
There is magic. There is magic. Udvask, who is she's a super cool character. If you ever read Retribution, the second of the novels. Anyhow, she can cast lightning, she can cast chain lightning, she can cast fireball, she can also cast an ectoplasmic shield, so it will shield a unit from taking damage.
That's interesting.
So there's magic in there.
Good grief. Are you worried about, I know, you know, we're all looking forward to it, but are you worried about some of the old stick in the mud type wargamers that will be tutting aloud, giving you a 21 tut salute because you brought out this game with werewolves and vampires in it?
No, I'm not. I hope that people like that have a good life. They probably just won't have it with me, and that's totally okay. You know, I respect that there are people that are interested in historical games, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I love historical games myself. There are people that think this sounds good. I just hope I made a good enough game that they really like it, and if there are any mistakes or whatnot, I want to fix them because this game is near and dear to my heart. So this game is for people that think this sounds cool. If you don't think it sounds cool, that's fine.
Yeah.
Fine, go do
something else. There's plenty other games to go play. So
and if you don't think it sounds cool and you want to criticize it and criticize me, you know what? That's fine.
No,
believe me, it's not the first time.
Don't go on social media and blab about it. Just move on. Just scroll past. You know.
Every time I play with Herm, all he does is criticize me.
Oh, look at that!
Well, I made a comment because I know Herman. I'm pretty sure you said it, or if it wasn't you, it was somebody in the chat said at one time that as soon as you move the first counter, it's a fantasy game. It's not a historical game anymore.
Right.
Because you're not doing
alternate history. As soon as you move the first counter, it's alternate history.
Or you roll the first die.
Yeah. Or when you play,
I want you guys to play the game where the game actually follows exactly what happened in real life.
Why? Why would you ever want that?
Yeah, I don't know. I can't. See,
So I can see what happened, right?
They have
watch
documentaries
the
for that.
documentary. Watch some of these stop motion YouTube videos that go through the battle for you step by step. Yeah, don't play it. You want to see if you can beat it or change it, or what would happen if I went round this way.
Right, except if the game doesn't go according to history, then you get the criticism that it's not realistic or well designed.
Oh yeah,
Right.
it's
Real
broken.
is
Sorry for
really
my voice, by the way. There's bad allergies here. It's just awful.
Yeah, I'm sniffling the whole time because I just got finished mowing the yard, and you've been here, so you know what a monumental tax that is. Realism, we could talk on realism forever because I tell you, realism is not the velocity of an 88 millimeter tank cannon. It's not the amount of armor and the slope of the armor. That stuff is only incidental to realism. And any designer that thinks that they'll make a realistic game by doing that is 180 wrong. Because war is about total chaos, crap that you had no idea that's happening.
Who threw that?
A tank commander that pisses his pants and the ammonia from the urine gets in the gunner's eyes, so he misses the shot.
Right.
It's about an outpost where both guys fell asleep and people come in unnoticed.
Right.
That's the kind of stuff that happens in war. The other stuff is just ancillary.
Right.
So people that want to talk to me about realism, or as Herm and I always joke, which side of the machine gun the receiver's on.
Right.
I don't want to.
I just had this exact discussion with Jeff Newell. He's doing a thesis on learning about the ACW through wargaming, which was a really interesting thesis. And he asked me, well, how do you make a game, a board game like Real War? Or I said, well, you sit at your table, have somebody start shooting at you, and you have to make your moves while somebody's shooting at you, right? Because you can't recreate the kind of tension, the kind of chaos, the kind of fear that you have in Real War, or you'd also don't have for those AP players out there, analysis paralysis people. You don't have 20 minutes to make a decision like you do in a war game, right? You have to make instantaneous decisions based on the information you have at that moment, right? And I mean, how do you recreate that? You could set up a little egg timer, until your friends, you got 30 seconds to make your move. Even that doesn't work because then you have to reinforce the 30 seconds. Then you end up having a brawl with all your friends. But yeah, you can't. It's impossible.
Right. I mean, how would you be able to, as gods, we can see the whole battlefield, we can see all the units, we can see all the counters. How can you take that away from the player and say, oh, there's a unit in the building 2 spaces away. Your guys might not even be able to see that, but you can.
Right. Yeah. Well, that was the whole premise for Blind Swords from the very beginning, was how do you recreate on the tabletop what you read about in the history books, right? And that was the first disconnect I was getting, is like, well, I'm reading this great chapter about something that happened at Gettysburg and it can't be recreated in the war game because you don't have that lack of information or that uncontrollability of your units, right? So then Blind Swords tries to do that. Now, a lot of gamers don't like that. Mark and I like that. He designs his games exactly the same way. And World of War was one of the first games that inspired me with the whole chit pull and random end of turn and all that stuff. And we're like, that's great. Now you have to make those quick decisions because you don't know when the turn is going to end. So now your whole thought process is different. You can't sit here and go, well, I got 3 phases to decide what to do here. No, you may not have 3 phases. So it changes the whole way you play the game.
You may not even get a go this turn, so
exactly.
Yeah, brilliant.
I know some gamers find that frustrating, but as far as Mark's design philosophy and a lot of other guys, you try to get as close to a simulation of the event as you can, and that's one of the ways you do it. I mean, in my opinion.
But to talk, Jester, to talk to what you were talking about we have this godlike view. One of the more cumbersome ways to handle it is to have hidden units where you're writing down hexes on some beer-stained napkin, and you're sitting there, going, did he walk through my hex or not? But I'm always looking for, and I know Herm's always looking for. I remember in RL&L, which is real lock and load, that people used to question me because you would have to spot a unit that you just shot at the previous turn. Let's say that was 100 meters away across a broad street, but the next turn they would have to shoot, or I think you've got to move. Honest to God, I don't remember all the rules anymore. Or you might have to move somebody adjacent. And me asking people to do that was trying to put that doubt back, because after a squad of men will shoot, they will duck and move 4 feet down they're not going to pop up in the same place again. That just doesn't happen. So you would need to sight in again to have some effective fire. Another thing that I like doing is, rather than using the hidden movement rules on beer-stained napkins, is just let units be placed in the middle of the game, or mines be placed. And how many tactical games have we all played where you write down, this mine is in hex 3L1, and nobody ever goes in 3L1?
Right.
How much fun is that? But what if you can place the mine whenever you want? And yes, it just attacks somebody, but the point is you get more of the feeling for what it's like to be in battle doing stuff like that. So yeah, I like doing that. I like events. Herm likes events. He puts them on his cards. I put them on chits or whatever.
Right. It's the whole idea of introducing something that you're not expecting.
Yeah. So I was playing Into the Woods this weekend, the Battle of Shiloh from GMT, and they have a battle event chit where you pull the chit out and then you roll a dice and there's a possibility. And I don't know how many times I ended up having to shoot my own guy because that was one of the events. I also got to there was a looting event, so I got to pull one of the Confederates, move him back to a camp and flip him over disrupted, because they just happened to go through the camp and they saw all the stuff, so they get disorganized. And it was so much fun, but I ended up having to shoot myself probably at least twice a turn.
Right, and there's different philosophies. So if you're talking about a very complex game, you can write all those layered rules into the game, right? Which adds pages and pages and devices. Or you design for effect, right? Which is those kinds of things happen to your units. You might not explain it exactly as going back to loot something or having a guy shoot himself, but it's some other event that occurs. One of your units gets moved by your opponent, or it suddenly becomes shaken for some reason, and that's how you justify. You can justify it. We'll say, well, that's what happened at this battle, without going through all those layers of rules, extra rules.
Well, the nice thing, it was just a chit pull, so it would come out randomly throughout the turn, and then you just roll the dice to see what happened. It was pretty easy to do. So that way it worked out.
Look, I think I don't know about, and I think Mark's in the same. My ultimate goal is to design the most realistic game I can in the fewest pages of rules possible, right? Make it as accessible as possible and as realistic as possible. Those two, if I could write a war game and have it 4 pages long, I would do it, right? So that's our ultimate goal, I think. You know, you want
My
these games.
ultimate goal is to make a shit ton of money off games.
Finally, the truth
Mark
comes out.
Walker.
There we go.
Is out.
Somebody actually
Mark
said
Walker, the
something we
designer,
really
not Mark Walker, the owner of Flying Pig Games.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I mean, that because we all want our games to be played, right? So a lot of these games, I don't want to mention any that came out recently that are so large that are almost unplayable, but there are games that are produced that are glorious games, beautifully designed, and nobody can play them. And I want my games to be played often, if possible. Yeah.
You're gonna play. You're gonna play Fearful Sacrifice at Origins, right?
Yeah, and that's the interesting thing about Fearful Sacrifice is that people say, "Oh, well, it's a monster game." It's not a monster game. It's a monster game physically. It's not a monster game complexity.
No.
I'm so looking forward to getting that out and just moving counters around. Are they pre-rounded, by the way? Just curious, or am I gonna have to clip these counters?
They're rounded.
Oh, there we go. I'm done. I'm sold. I already bought it, but
Hold on. Let me look.
Because if they're pre-rounded, I'll play it that night.
And one of the cool things about the counters.
Okay, here is
that's so
counter
nice.
sheet. I'm gonna punch out a counter.
Sure
enough. How can I? Oh, it's up here. Wait.
You just put it in front of the camera.
Me. It's kicking my ass. See, pre-rounded.
Yep. I can get that out. And
that's a 5-2. It should have been a 4-2, Herman. What were you thinking? Oh my god!
I know, right?
The receiver's on the wrong side of the MG42.
It's funny. We're talking about receivers on the MG42, but my miniatures geek days definitely took over. So the artist for this game was Jose Faro, who's one of the best I've worked with. He does a wonderful work. And when you guys get this game, look at the counters very closely because the units are in there. As far as we could tell, they're most historical uniforms we could find. They're flags, and some of them even have mascots, as we've discussed before. So a lot of research went into exactly how they look. They're not just generic blue and gray counters.
Yeah.
And how many Easter eggs are in there, Herm? I don't remember. How many Easter eggs did you put in there?
There's 3 mascot Easter eggs. Yeah.
Tim,
that's a great touch. I love that. You guys went through the.
It's one of those things that we know it's there. Maybe 90% of the gamers won't see it, but when you do see it, you'll appreciate it. I guess that's the miniaturist.
I've been to Gettysburg, and I know there was one dog that actually died with their troops because he didn't leave them after they had died. Is that
right? There was actually 3. We have 3 dogs.
Oh, 3 dogs. Okay, yeah. I know that was one. I can't remember. I think it was a Pennsylvania unit.
Butternut squash uniforms. That's right. Yeah, I know. That's another thing that one of my things is not to put the Confederates in gray, but to put them in butternut. That's what they want.
Nice guy I am. I wanted them in gray.
I know. Well, it's interesting. One of the guys who helped play test.
I didn't know that.
No, I didn't.
I've always seen them in gray, so you just assume they were in gray, but
that was the official uniform. And in fact, I found out later on, somebody contacted me on Board Game Geek and said, "Did you know that the North Carolina troops had really good, factories, and they produced this beautiful gray cloth for all their troops? So you'll notice when you get the game, all the North Carolina troops are in gray kepied uniforms because they were the sharpest of all of them in the Confederate Army." So it's little geeky stuff like that I don't know.
That's cool.
Hopefully people will like it. And like I said, that goes all the way back to when I played miniatures in the 90s. When you're painting these guys, you're doing cuffs the right colors and the collars the right colors and all that kind of thing. So you appreciate that kind of detail, even if nobody else can see it.
Craig's got a great question. How many of the Confederates are vampires?
Maybe we'll do an expansion.
Right, there you go.
There was actually a movie where the Confederates, because they have to be inherently evil, were some of them were vampires.
Well, didn't VPG do Victor Point Games do the South will Rise
Yeah.
again?
The South. That was John Welsh, I think, designed that
Yeah.
game. Yes.
So the South are actually vampire or zombies that come back alive.
And Rick Barber famously had the zombie Stonewall Jackson in one of his games.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
The Long Road to Gettysburg.
Very good, Mo. I like that. I won't even tell you what Mark wanted to originally name A Most Fearful Sacrifice.
He comes back.
Everybody's waiting for us to say it.
Go ahead.
It was Kill Them Yankees. And Herm said, no, I want an actual quote. And I said, I guarantee you that's an actual quote from that battle.
I said, Mark, wait a minute. We want to sell some of these games.
Oh my gosh.
But now Herm and I both live in the South, so
that's right. I have to tell you, it's an amazing phenomenon, and I noticed that when I visit Mark in Virginia, but here in Tennessee, there is, and Ruff, you might appreciate this because I don't know how England is as far as their various areas.
There is a north-south divide.
Yeah, they are so proud of their state here. I mean, there are more Tennessee flags. Nancy and I have both Tennessee flags on our cars as our front plates. They're Tennessee flags. Everybody wears their Tennessee flag with pride here. It is a connection to the state itself that we didn't have in New York, certainly.
I can't even tell you what the New York flag
gives you an insight.
We get it over here, like London. It's like New York. Yeah, it's everything. Whereas it tends to be as you go further north, people, and especially if you go up to Scotland and Wales and Ireland, very much proud of their country, their culture, their history. And as you go up north in England,
I want a Bevenberg flag.
A what?
Bevenberg.
What's that?
Uhtred of
Uhtred.
Bevenberg.
You know today's St. George's Day over here in England.
Is it?
Yes, but we're called names if we celebrate it.
Why?
Because I'm not Scottish and St. Andrew, and I'm not Welsh for St. David, or St. Patrick, but St. George.
Okay.
Yeah.
But wasn't St. George the cross that the Saxon/English wore during the 100 Years' War?
Yeah, it's all that. You see, he was Portuguese, I think. But anyway, always at St. Patrick. I think they weren't very British, I think, a lot of our saints. So, but yes, St. George's Day today. Him and the dragon.
Have you watched any of the Saxon Tales by Bernard Cornwell?
I've read the first book. I
read several of the books. Yeah,
they're really good.
And the TV series, The Last Kingdom, is very good.
Oh, Last Kingdom.
I watched really one episode. I'm like, crap, that's the first book. I need to start reading the second book before I watch it.
Yeah, Last Kingdom is very good.
Yeah, he does. I read one of Sharp's books, his Sharp series too, and I really like that one too. It's pretty good.
Have you watched the series, Tony?
No, I haven't. I want to read the series.
It's great. It's great.
Well, isn't it the only time where what's his name doesn't die? It's like the only show that he doesn't die in. Who plays Sharp?
Sean Bean.
Yeah, isn't that the only show he doesn't die in? Like every other show he's in.
He dies. He's either a villain, like he was in what's that one with Ronin? He was in. He was the baddie. He was like a bad mercenary in Ronin. He didn't last very long. Yeah, you're quite right. Lord of the Rings. He's gone.
Yeah,
he's dead. Oh right. Yeah.
Well, I saw him play an SAS dude in some show, and he was captured. There was a team of 4 of them, and he was captured. He lived through that.
Yeah,
that's all I remember.
Whereas Sharp, he goes away, retires, and has to come back again. It's a bit like, I know, I don't think any of the blooming Saints did. I think so. But yeah, it's our one. Bravo 20. Yes, that's the one. Yeah. Where he was an SAS chappie. Andy McNabb, yeah.
Cool.
Turned it into a movie. How about that?
It was good.
He survived in the full Monty.
Yeah,
That was great. That was a great movie.
yeah. But Sharp,
Former
yeah,
went down like a total bad.
That's true. That's true.
yeah, he did, yeah, yeah. But he does that. But yeah, Sharp, watch it if you haven't seen it. Watch it. You know, it's great.
Well, sure.
Well, in movie news, Nicolas Cage has a new movie out that trumps everything.
Old Wiggy, as we call him over here.
Yeah, it's
Massive.
I think it's something like the heavy burden of massive talent. It's supposed to be hilarious. He plays Nicolas Cage in the movie.
So
He plays himself in the movie.
so he's wearing an outrageous wig, even more than normal.
A cut I saw from it, he is obviously wearing a wig. So it's one of those making fun of type,
he's making fun of himself.
movies.
And I'm all for that.
Oh, me too. I love that type of humor.
But
Love it.
Need more of that.
Have you all seen Game Night?
Game Night?
No,
Are you joking?
no. Who's in that then?
Jason Bateman.
Jason Bateman and who's the woman? She's a great comedian.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Cute girl too, but beside the point, she's a great comedian. And anyhow, it's this story about this couple that hosts game nights, and much hilarity ensued because they're hosting a game night where people come over and act out like they murdered one of them, and they're the FBI trying to figure it out. And just watch the movie. I guarantee if you watch the movie, you will email me and say, you're 100% right. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Let me see.
I'll have to see if that's being streamed
An
anywhere.
American action comedy film.
Yeah, action comedy. That would be it.
Stars Jason Bateman and Rachel McAdams.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's it.
Basically, they get attacked and they can't tell if it's part of the game or if it's a real attack.
Oh, I've got to watch that.
So they're sort of playing a murder mystery sort of game.
Right. It's like a murder mystery, and is it fake or not? Right.
Yeah. Is this real or what? Yeah. Okay, we'll search that one out.
And they have British subtitles.
They have British subtitles.
British English. Instead of elevator, they have lift. Yes.
Yeah. Sidewalk pavement.
Instead of COVID, they say COVID.
No, we say COVID. No, we call it something else beginning with C. But anyway.
Aluminium.
And what? Aluminium.
Yes.
Aluminium.
Tunisia. What do you call it?
Tunisia.
Tunisia. Well, what's the capital city in Tunisia? Tunis. Tunisia.
You know, I understand that you're speaking English the correct way, but sometimes I swear to God, it's like y'all have people sitting in a tower going, okay, Americans say cow. How can we possibly say it differently?
No, that's you lot. Because we used to say Moscow. We say Moscow, and all you guys are sitting in a tower going, we can't say Moscow. They say Moscow. What can we say? I know. Moscow.
Everybody's using in words that don't make any sense, you know.
I know, it's silly, isn't it?
Color, there's no U in color, but sure enough, you guys start using it.
Well, only because it comes from the old French.
More viewers yet?
It comes from the old French. But yeah, we're boring them to tears. We're down to 3.
Yeah, everybody's left now that Herman showed up.
What else you want to know?
If anybody has any questions
question
for Godzilla or Luttmann, let us know in the chat. We'll pass them on. If you're trying to find out some information, or you want to find out about Herman's game,
I got a question.
Yeah, Plum Island horror.
No, I don't care lots about
what's up with that?
No, don't answer those questions. No, go ahead. Just kidding.
It is still waiting to get into art.
Oh, jeez.
It's
There's
not going to
nothing-
make it. It's going to
There's
be. You guys
nothing
are
I can
screwed.
do. There's nothing I can do.
It's
Has
on
it
our,
reached
it's on our, all our
turn?
top 10s to play.
Turn, does it have
Not mine. I was
500?
smart.
We've reached 970.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice, yeah.
Nice.
So I'm hoping it hits 1,000 by the time it gets into art.
I'm more interested in the small Civil War battle.
So yes, I was going to say Shattered Union. We're almost done with it. Fred and I are just doing a couple more play tests to get the VPs right, but the game system is done. So that'll be fairly soon. So the first game is going to be Champion Hill. Claude Whalen, who's designed many of the Blind Swords games, is going to do one on Cross Keys and Port Republic. I'm going to do one on Fredericksburg. And Dale Gutt, who is a designer for White Dog games, he did In the Name of Justice. Is anybody's played one of those? Have you, Tony?
No, but I know about it. It's kind of
It's a great little game. It's a very simple game, and real again, simple but well designed and entertaining and fun and accessible. About the Battle of Luz in 1264. Russ, you can tell us a little about that battle.
Yeah, Luz.
Yeah, he was there. He can tell us by experience.
Yeah.
Anyway, he and I contacted each other on Board Game Geek because I told him I thought he did a really good job on it. And then we talked a little bit, and I said, "Hey, are you into the Civil War at all?" And he's actually a reenactor. What an amazing coincidence, right? And so he's going to do.
Does he live in America?
What's that?
Does he live in America?
Yes.
Okay. No, I mean, I thought maybe there were English that reenacted
The English
American Civil War. I
Oh,
just
no.
thought it would
Oh,
be
yes,
very
I used to be
great.
one, sir. Used to be one. It's
Oh,
the
did
most
you?
terrifying thing ever. Cannons going off, horses. I know I'm going off in a minute, but I used to be a part of the English Civil War Society, and I remember I was a pikeman, and you had to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and train with the pike. It's like 10 foot tall, it weighs a ton, and we did all this thingy, and we get onto the battle, and all the public are there on this big field, and all of a sudden we hear the thrum, brum, brum, brum. Horses are coming. Okay, hedgehog. So we had to make a hedgehog, stick all our blooming thing, and it was frightening. All these horses coming towards us, and then I had to die. He said, "Right, you're going to die during this, but it's all sort of scripted. So you're going to die." So I had my pretend musket. They wouldn't trust me with the real one. So I went bang, and then I got shot, and I fell down, and I'm laying there in all the sort of the armor and the what's the cuirassy? Is it the
Cuirass,
the helmet? And I'm laying there like this, doing a good dead person, and I can hear coming up behind me. It's a bloody horse. Now this horse didn't go round me. The bloke thought, for added realism, let's jump over this dead body, because he's dead, isn't he? Jump over this dead body.
Oh my
So the
God.
horse jumps over me, and his hoof clips the back of my head. Luckily, I had that helmet on. Otherwise, something might have happened. All the names I called him into the grass.
Right.
But it's frightening.
Just stood up and thrown that halberd in the horse's butt.
I would, but I was turned into a musketman then, but with a pretend musket.
So
But
we were
it's
just
what I'm
talking
trying to
about
say,
realism. We were just talking about realism in war games,
it's frightening, and it wasn't real.
You're demonstrating that right now.
It's frightening. The cannons, when they go off, you feel the percussive blast, even though it's not aimed at you. And and the horses and making the hedgehog, and it's not real, but it's the old adrenaline goes.
One of the funny things that I found out about Civil War reenactors or reenactments in general, every once in a while there actually is somebody that gets shot, like legit gets shot. And a lot of times it's a wife that gets somebody to shoot their husband.
Get out of here.
No, I'm not. It happened. I've
God.
3 or 4 incidences where that legit happened. It was actually a murder for hire, and that was a way they could do it.
Lovely.
Guy's got to be a good shot.
Yes, yeah. Oh, well, the other thing about Civil War is I was sweating buckets because they're done during the summer, these reenactments. And you're wearing big woolen clothes and everything, woolen trousers. You think, why are you wearing this in June, July? But at the time of the Civil War, there was a mini ice age. And it was cold. So in June, July, August, they were wearing these woolen things, and you're sweating buckets. But it's for realism, like you're saying.
Mhm.
You've got the Confederates with the proper color cuffs and all that. We had to wear all this because it's real. That's what they wore, because it was an ice age during the 17th century.
Yep.
Or 15th century, 16th century.
So the real thing is scary.
Tweezers.
Yeah.
Oh my God, tweez.
So anyway, Dale Gutt's going to do Brandy Station as the fourth game.
Okay.
Sorry, Herman. Sorry. Off you go. I do
it's okay
for interrupting.
So these are all going to be simplified, more in the tradition of the old SPI quads or the SPI folio games, things that are more accessible. I'm obviously into getting games that are really accessible. So I keep redesigning Blind Swords to get it to go faster and at different scales. And that's what this new series is going to be for Tiny Battle.
I'm interested in definitely Champions Hill for sure, and Fredericksburg, just because there's one Champion Hill game out, but I've yet to find a Fredericksburg game.
Well, the idea of this series was, Mark wanted something, again, accessible, things that people, but so we didn't want to do all the battles that have already been done. So we're trying to find battles that are underrepresented. So Champion Hill, obviously, is one of them. I think there's only 2 games on the market for Champion Hill.
One's not printed
why. I mean, I know the battle was pretty competitive and it was very important. It's the battle before the Vicksburg siege. So this is a really big deal, this battle.
Yeah, it's the reason why there was a Vicksburg siege, because the Union won. Yeah.
And Cross Keys Port Republic really basically established control of the Shenandoah Valley for Stonewall Jackson. The Battle of Fredericksburg I picked because a lot of designers shy away from that because they think it's just this. They always think of Mary's Heights, right? They always think of that big bloody assault on the hill, but the battle was much more than just that.
Mm-hmm.
The Union actually beat back Stonewall Jackson on the one flank. So I mean, there's a whole big battle there to be explored. And Brandy Station we picked because it's a unique battle in that it's 90% cavalry.
Mm.
And you don't have those kind of big cavalry battles in the Civil War. So we thought that would be a great, something different again.
Yeah, when I was playing Into the Woods, it was the first Civil War game where you couldn't dismount cav. You rode with them like you just fought them like with them normal because they hadn't dismounted yet at Shiloh. They hadn't learned dismounting was better than riding, on a on a horse, into musket fire. So
I don't know for a fact, but I'm thinking now even in 1870, so in the Franco-Prussian War, the cavalry stayed mounted. That was like Napoleonic cavalry.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
They didn't learn from what we learned for that. Yeah, I've heard about the Franco-Prussian War and the fact that they still did the old Napoleonic style, but like if they would have come to the Americas in the Civil War, they would have noticed that does not really work much anymore.
Right, you're talking about in those European battles, they're huge cavalry formations. Like I said, mm-hmm. True Napoleonic-sized cavalry force, cuirassier, the whole thing, lancers. So they were still operating under that old Napoleonic style against fairly modern rifles, and the French had the mitrailleuse, which was basically kind of like a Gatling gun, mm-hmm. machine gun, an old machine gun. So I would imagine you're probably right that they didn't really have the dismounting tactics down yet, as far as that was a viable tactic at the time. To answer Fred's question about Miracle at Dunkirk, that looks like, I talked to Randy at Legion a couple of weeks ago. He is really backed up in his production schedule. I have some people going over the rules, playing it on TTS. It looks like it's not going to be till the end of the year before he gets it out. I mean, it's basically done as a game. I'm just having people double check it and everything, but it's basically done as a design. We have to just get the artwork done and all that. But I guess production-wise, he's really backed up at Legion. What else?
While you're talking about Randy, can you next time you talk to him, can you remind him that I did invite him on the show, and he didn't get back to me. Maybe he's seen some of the shows. But, to sell Rough, talking to Rough. He was interested to come on, and he said, "Can you give me a link to the shows?" And I said, "There we go." And he never got back. Maybe because you're saying he's backed up with work. He's forgotten about it.
Yeah, no, I met him a few years ago at Concert World Expo out in Tempe, Arizona. Really nice guy. I just think, like with everybody, real life just gets in the way of all this stuff, and he's just just very busy. Other than
I heard he had some health.
I think it's more likely that he actually watched some of the shows, and
that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Wow.
The link.
Yep.
Wow.
But otherwise, I don't know. Mark and I are always throwing ideas around for different games. We're going to come up with something out of the blue pretty soon, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
We just can't talk about it yet. We're bound by NDAs.
Oh, gold.
With each other? But you're sitting right here.
But we don't know that. He's a hidden unit.
Yeah. That's it.
So what else is going on? So, Champion Hill should, God willing, be very quick. When Herm says, "Hey," when he stops correcting the art, every time he says, "Yeah, that's it," I'll wake up the next morning. He's going, "Hold it, wait a second."
Now this is interesting because this subject came up a couple of weeks ago on this show about errata and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So just to Mark's point, I was just looking. I must have approved these cards. How many times have I approved these cards, Mark? About 4 times, right?
I can't count that high.
Just
I
today,
ran out of fingers and toes.
Today, I was snipping them to put in the TTS mod, and sure enough, there's another card. I go, "Oh no, Jose, this is the wrong color," and I had to go write him and say, "You got to change the color on the bottom of one of these cards." This has got to be the 80th time I've looked over this stuff.
How does that happen?
Blind.
Well, I tell you why Herm's games don't have a lot of problems, and that's because Herm is up to his elbows in the game. And there are 2 design philosophies going around on the planet. Design philosophy 1 is, I designed the game, and you will play test it. And those games are usually messed up. Design philosophy 2 is, I designed the freaking thing. I'm going to make sure it works. Okay. Herm and I are of that design philosophy. Greg Porter is of that design philosophy. Shane Logan is of that design philosophy. And although certainly Greg and I, Herm and I, Greg and I, Shane and I, all want to get our games out to other people to blind play test because they find stuff too. We're not afraid to roll up our sleeves, get in there, and push counters around our own game. And you specifically, Herm makes this TTS module for this game. And that's part of this. Because he's making the TTS module, he's looking at the card and he goes, "Wait a minute, that's wrong." And that stuff, it only shows up when you're in the nitty gritty. It's, I was kidding with y'all earlier, not to go on and on here, but I was kidding with y'all earlier about how some of the artists I work with, want to kill me just in a joking way, because I asked them to do final art very early in the design. The reason I ask that is so when I'm testing with the counters that should be final art. That way you're playing a counter and you go, "Wait a second, that's not right." And you find things like that. To me, that's the way my mind works, and it's one of the easiest way to find it. And in working with Herm, that's one of the things I've found with Herm. Plus, he has this core of good play testers he works with, but still, Herm tests his own designs too.
But that's how, if I had the wherewithal to design a game, I'd want to make sure at least it works before I put it out to developers who might go, "Have you actually played this game, Ruff? It doesn't work." Yeah, but I designed it. I would want to blooming test it to death before I even put it out to a third party to have a
Yeah,
look
but the
at.
thing is, see, that's the whole thing, Ruff. You could play test it to death and then hand it off to another person, and they will point out 800 things wrong with it.
But if I hadn't play tested it to death, there would have been 2,000.
Right, so, exactly. So you get rid of the
not only
obvious
will there
part.
be 2,000, if you haven't tested it, literally what will happen is when you give it to a developer, they literally will say, "Have you even played this game?"
Yeah,
As a
and I can
publisher,
understand.
there have been times when I've had to get into the development process, and Herm knows one of the games I'm talking about, and we're not even going to come close to naming the game or the designer, where literally when I played the game, I went, "This has not been played before." There are obvious mistakes, not subtle mistakes, not balanced mistakes, not this unit should have an attack factor of 4 instead of 3. Obvious mistakes in the game that make it totally unplayable.
Here's one of mine, wasn't it?
When I see something like that, if I haven't signed a contract, I'll just give it back to the designer and say, "Finish it," and then send it to me.
Right.
But my self-esteem wouldn't allow me to do that if I was a designer. It's like when I used to perform. I don't perform anymore now because of COVID has sort of killed it, and this has taken over. But when I was practicing a piece or practicing a song or whatever, I'd drive everybody mad in the house because I would practice, and the wife would say, "That sounds great." No, not quite.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I perform it, I know I'm going to make mistakes. I want to make sure I make the least mistakes, if that makes sense, by practicing and practicing and practicing. In other words, playing the game,
Right.
finding out. Yeah.
But to answer Jester's point about errata, let's say physical errata, right? I think it's just human nature. If you look at sheets of cards or sheets of counters and you start proofreading them across, what happens after a while is your mind starts wandering a little bit, right? You start going over something that so I'm trying to train myself to proofread a line and then go take a break and do something else, then come back and proofread another line. Still,
things creep through.
A lot of times you don't have the time to do that, right? You want to proofread it right there, and then your mind just, it's like designing your own, like what you were talking about with the like with my rules writing, right? You get certain crutches that you don't even realize you're doing, right?
For me, it's so.
And you need somebody else to say, "Hey, wait a minute, you do this all the time," and it's like speech and speech crutches and things like that. When I was doing my interview with Candace Harris on Board Game Geek, I kept saying "so," and I noticed,
that's him, yeah.
Right. So I'm watching myself and I go, "Oh my God, people are laughing at me because I'm saying so all the time," right?
They're not, but you think they are, and it's
right.
It's
right.
Yeah.
No, they probably are.
We were laughing. Yeah, we were laughing.
I'm trying to be kind, Mark. All right. For the poor old soul there.
The proofreading then becomes something like that, where you're kind of scanning and you think you're paying attention, and then all of a sudden you go by 2 counters and you really haven't paid that much attention to them because your eyes get tired or whatever. And I just think it's human nature. And again, like I said, I just found the thing today on one of the cards that I told Jose 5 times they're fine.
But it's sort of blindness, isn't it? After a while, you switch off.
I mean, to Mark's point, a lot of companies will let all that go and then do an errata later on and say, "By the way, change the color on this and change this counter to that," and we make an honest effort to try to catch that all immediately. And you're right. The TTS mod has helped that a lot. You mentioned David Thompson before. He's the guy that told me, he goes, "Herm, you got to find out about this TTS thing, because when you do playtest kits, it's such a great tool to do playtests." So now I said, I don't know how to do all that. I'm not that savvy. I learned it, and it's great. I don't even do physical kits anymore. Everything goes on TTS. And if I'm playing with Fred and I find a mistake or something I want to change, it gets changed instantaneously. I go back to my file, change it, upload it, and boom, it's in the new game.
But isn't it great for playtesting? Because like before, you send out a playtesting kit to somebody, and they do it, and then they have to send it on to somebody else, and pay the postage. Whereas they can just use the tabletop simulator.
Fred's in New York. I'm in Tennessee. We would have never been able to do this before. So now we get together once a week and we can do it virtually. It's fantastic.
The one thing I noticed when I was playtesting Mr. President with Mike was that with a subscription or with that, if they make a change when you load it back up, it loads up any of the new artwork and it fixes it. So you're not constantly saying, okay, you got to change this or you got to change that. It just automatically does that.
Right. And in that case, it's actually superior to a physical playtest kit, right? Because now I don't have to go back, get a blank counter, fill it all in. Here's the new counter.
Mail it on.
Like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I just need to use TTS more, like actually play with it a lot more. And I think then I would probably get more used to it. It's just, I'm so used to Vassal, and I'm like, click, click, click. I can do that second nature.
I'm not. I've got 10 thumbs. Ask Tweez. I wipe the board. I do. He goes, "What have you done, Ruff? You just wiped all the counters off the board." I'm sorry, I pushed the wrong thing.
Yeah, but
he has to get it all back.
Flip the table. I hate that button. I accidentally flipped the table in TTS a few times. I'm like, shit. Why is that button even there?
Yeah, I know.
It comes back. Talking about Fred and yourself, Herman, this luxury pack of your games.
Oh, the Invader series.
Yeah, yeah.
Actually, speaking of that, Fred is right now working on the 4th installation for that series called Planet of Doom.
Yeah.
It's going to feature the Moss Men. So it's they're jungle/plant life type of aliens. He's working on that one right now, and we're going to get that play tested through TTS very shortly. When that's done, so we changed our philosophy a little bit about that. Originally, that was just going to be kind of an add-on in the deluxe package. Then we just said, you know what? They're such an interesting alien race. Let's just make it its own game. And then, depending on how Mark wants to do this, next year maybe what we'll do is we'll package all the Invaders stuff together.
Oh, I would buy that.
New box game.
Upgrade the components. We'll do new art just to make it look different. We'll fix up the little fiddly rule things here and there, and then we'll just have a whole new package. Yeah.
Yeah, because I've got a couple on print and play that I got from you guys and printed them off. But yeah, I'd love a deluxe set of all those. Yeah, so brilliant.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's a fun series to do. That's the series that started on a bet from Jeff McAleer at Jeff's Gaming Game. He challenged me to design a game that was total chaos, and I said I can do that.
And it is. And very hard to win.
Yes, and thankfully Mark was the same philosophy. He allowed me to do it with Tiny Battle.
Yeah. Wait. That's what we need.
Well, yeah, we'll have the chaos show up in Long Road. That would be fun.
We could do that. We'll get right on it.
Yep.
Good.
You did talk about 85, right, Mark, or you didn't?
He briefly.
I briefly talked about 85.
About 4 or 5 times.
Yep.
Cool.
My brain is getting somewhat from the artwork and the sun and stuff. So yeah, anything you can think of, Herm, I'm going to go. Yeah, that's right. What he said.
Well, I mean, we're both, one of the reasons that Mark and I get together for COVID-Con is that, we'll play, like you said, we play Great War Commander and a couple other war games, but we play a lot of other stuff. And one of the reasons we do that is because we get ideas for mechanics to bring into the war game world. And we're starting to do that a little bit more often. So you'll see that happening. I even just played a game. I don't know if anybody in the chat's played this game called Friday, which is a solitaire. It's a very small box card game. All right, Tony, you played it, right?
Yeah.
It's a great little solo game,
I suck
right?
at it, but I play it. Yeah.
I suck at it too. So that game to me is the example of simple, clever, way of designing a game, right? So you play as Friday, Robinson Crusoe comes on your island, and you have to teach him to survive. And the way the game does it is really clever. You're playing these little challenges. If you beat the challenge, you take the card and you flip it over, and it has a benefit, and you add it to your deck of cards. So what it's doing is it's telling you through trials, you are improving your learning, right? You're gaining skill, you're getting better and all that by adding these things to your deck. At the same time, every time you go through your deck, you're adding a bad card, which represents you aging or getting injured or right, or getting a little old,
running out of resources. Yeah.
You're adding a really bad card. So as I'm playing this, I actually got it so Nancy and I could play it together. I'm thinking to myself, and I don't know if you agree, Tony, what if this was a U.S. infantry division in World War II? Your first campaign is you're going to North Africa to fight Rommel. You're learning, right? You're getting better. You're adding cards, this. Then you get sent to Italy. Now you're fighting the Germans and the Italians. You're adding more and more cards. Then you get sent to Normandy.
Well, that's right? Yeah. I see that. It's taking a little bit, but yeah, I can see that being very effective. Yeah.
Right. So all those encounters you have, it could be take out a German machine gun nest. Oh, you did it. Boom. You flip the card over. You've learned how to assault better. Right. And so Mark and I have talked about that. Like, how we could do this as a military history thing, starting from a Robinson Crusoe premise. Yeah. But I mean, theoretically, it should work. Obviously, you want to change some things. But again, it's a very simple, straightforward 4 pages of rules, I'll bet. And it's just the way you manipulate the cards and add it to your deck that you're earning experience, and at the same time, wear and tear. You're getting maybe a little PTSD, so you're getting one of those cards. You're getting homesick, so you're adding one of those cards, right? A little war weary. You're getting one of your friends got knocked off. You add that card. So it's a combination of I'm getting to be a veteran, but I'm also getting a little bit more depressed or hurt or fatigued or whatever. And so, I mean, there's another example of just a tiny card game that I said, God, we could turn this into a war game legitimately.
Sounds great. So it's like a deck builder, but adding bad things at the same time as well.
Exactly.
You're trying to improve your deck.
Exactly. But that simple mechanic of taking the card you're beating, right? And then if you beat it, you turn it the other way, and it now becomes an asset in your deck.
But because it's war, bad things happen. So, you get a bit depressed, you're missing your wife or whatever. So
you get shot in the leg, and, that wounds you for the rest of your right. So anyway, that's, so that's why we do these other games, because ideas like that'll come flowing in.
Well, they're fun for one thing. And the second thing is, like you were saying, Herm, I always consider it professional reading. It would be like a doctor that's reading the latest on how to treat a particular tumor or whatever it happens to be with these playing games. And Herm and I usually together and apart don't play many war games, and that's nothing against war games whatsoever. I like I told you guys, I've got Third World War on my table right now, but generally I'm playing stuff like Blackstone Fortress, or Herm brings up Friday, or even very simple games like Exploding Kittens or anything like that, and drawing all kinds of things from those games and video games that then are reinserted as either ideas that directly came from those other games, or I know with me, and I'm pretty sure it's the same way with Herm, it's kind of like a stew inside my head that all these things go in, and there may be a particular design problem I'm trying to solve, and something will bubble to the surface, like one of those 8 balls kind of things. It bubbles to the surface, and I use that idea, and it came sometime in my life from another game. So I've met designers that say, no, I don't play other games. I don't want to be influenced. I go, well, yeah, maybe you don't want to make money.
What's going on in the mechanics of game world, haven't you, really? New mechanics coming out more likely in non-war games, which maybe you might be able to use.
Mhm.
Have you ever been caught out with that sort of adapting?
What, somebody saying this is like that? Something that I've designed, somebody says is like something else?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like you nicked it from my game.
No,
I've had
Just
that.
wondered, I was just wondered if you've got any like
I'll tell you that I am in Magnificent Style and Crowbar. People told me on Board Game Geek, "Oh, that's Can't Stop." I go, "What?" So there's this game called Can't Stop. That's a very popular game that is a push your luck, kind of the same type of thing where you push, and then you gather. I've never played the game because I actually got the idea for those two games from a dice game that I played when I was a kid with my mother. I went with my grandmother. So it's a coincidence. I mean, I don't think I don't know of any of Mark's games that came from anywhere else. I mean,
Well,
no, I was just wondered, because we do, like you say, you do get some great ideas from other games.
Right. Sometimes you don't realize it. I guess is what you're saying, right?
Right.
Like it sits back there, and you don't really realize it comes from a certain game, right?
Yeah, and then it gurgles around a bit, and you think, "Hello, now hold on." Yeah. Or does it happen when you're playing like Friday, and you think, "Hello, I can do this," and then
I look at it kind of like it gets you off your tunnel vision, right? So you're playing a game and you're only thinking down this one path, and playing these other games kind of unclogs different arteries, and you go, "Wait a minute, if I look at it from this angle, or if I use this mechanic, so it kind of helps you just at least diversify your thoughts, right?
And you're not gonna lift it as is and put it in a game. You've got to adapt it to
right. Exactly. It just coaxes you to think a different way. Right.
it's when you have an issue and you're like, it gives you multiple avenues to fix the issue. Oh,
right.
I've got a problem. How do I fix it? Instead of always doing the same thing, you can expand out, try different things, and say, "Oh,
right."
You know
the
what?
traditional, maybe the
This
traditional
might work in this way because
right. The traditional wargamer back in the 70s might just have written another 2 pages of rules and created a whole new mechanic, right, to deal with that, and that's why rules were 80 pages long, right? So this at least gives you maybe there's a more clever way to do it that doesn't involve all that.
Right.
But thank goodness, you guys are thinking out the box, because like Crowbar is fantastic. It's such a different game, and
thank you.
Well, it is, and not just, it is. It's a different. Shall I do it one?
Well, I like Crowbar, but it just really pisses me off that the receiver on the MG42 is on the wrong side.
Yeah, it's completely. That's why I didn't order it.
And that first bombardment thing, it's like I've got
game's broken.
What? Yeah.
I wasn't going to mention that to Herman, but now it's out in the open.
Well, now it's there.
I think we actually corrected that, didn't we? Didn't Tim switch it to the other side or something? Or
that was on the errata counter.
I don't even know if he did or not.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're gonna have to wind things up, my friends. Yes, it's that time already. Unbelievable. Wow. Time flies by. We had such a good time talking with Mark Walker. So thanks again for coming by, Mark, and sharing your
great talking with you guys.
Yeah, sharing your knowledge and everything. And of course, Herman, thanks for coming back in and giving us an update on everything. So
when people get tired of seeing me, let me know.
They've already done.
Oh, it's already happened. I've already overstayed my welcome.
Thank you all for joining us, spending a couple hours this Saturday with us. Next week, we've got Blue Tweezers coming on the show with us live and in person. So we'll have Blue Tweezers on with us. He will be sharing all kinds of stuff that him and Ruff are, doing and catch up on that. And he'll be, of course, talking about his live play with Mark Walker coming up soon. So, anyways, everybody, thanks so much for coming by. And again, thanks, Herman. Thanks, Mark, for coming out.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
And of course, we'll see you all next week. Same time, same channel. Till then, have a good week, and we'll see you then.
Bye.
Bye.